Tonight, Christmas travel mayhem at Melbourne Airport after a computer meltdown, the latest live. One of Australia's largest health providers under attack from hackers. An IT worker accused of assaulting dozens of women inside a Melbourne nightclub. A university sniper kills 14 people in a holiday mass murder in Prague. Bombshell closing arguments in the Bruce Lehrmann trial. And Usman Khawaja hits back in a cricket protest storm.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Rebecca Maddern.
Good evening. A computer meltdown at Melbourne Airport is triggering a painful wait for Christmas holidaymakers. Blake Johnson has the latest from Tullamarine. Hello, Blake. It's terrible timing for travellers.
Beck, of all days for there to be an outage in the passport scanning system, today would be among the worst. There's still a bit of a queue of people waiting to get into the customs hall, but at one point this afternoon it was stretching into the next terminal. This was a national outage. It lasted 3 hours and it meant that Border Force staff were having to process passports manually. As of about half an hour ago, that system is back online, but there is some backlog in clearing people through those passport checks. Worried about getting your flight on time tonight?
A little bit at the moment because there seems to be quite a queue for security.
Devastated. Just want to make it home for Christmas.
Where are you off to?
Christchurch, New Zealand.
And you're going to make it tonight?
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Airport staff have been cherry-picking people out of the queue, calling out flights that are departing soon. Let's hope they get their flights home for Christmas, and good luck to those in IT at Border Force tonight, Beck.
Indeed. Blake Johnson, thank you. One of Australia's largest health providers is scrambling to secure the private information of thousands of patients after a cybersecurity attack. St Vincent says it first found out about the hack on Tuesday and has been racing to investigate since.
St Vincent's Health holds the personal, sensitive details of hundreds of thousands of patients at its hospitals and aged care facilities, plus almost 30,000 staff. Some of it could now be in the hands of hackers.
Any breach is a significant issue, and of course we're distressed by that.
On Tuesday, management learned its system had been compromised. On Wednesday, the cybercriminals were still active. Last night, there was evidence information had been stolen. Today, St Vincent's finally went public. But it's still unknown how serious it is or what's been taken.
To the extent that data left our systems, yes, our system failed.
We're really at the stage of trying to think about the response and to make sure that the essential health services that Australians rely on are maintained.
It isn't the first Victorian hospital to face data breaches this year. Patients at the Royal Women's Hospital were also exposed. Optus, Medibank, DP World and Latitude are among the major Australian victims of cyber hackers in the past 18 months. Even schools have been targeted.
All of the predictions are for increased threats when it comes to cybersecurity.
Any organisation in Australia can be subject to a cyber incident, despite all the preventative mechanisms that people put in place.
St Vincent's Health says its services in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland are not affected so far, but such is the unpredictable nature of cyber attacks that nothing can be guaranteed.
Of course we're frustrated because the work that St Vincent's does across Australia is important work.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
A Melbourne IT worker is accused of sexually assaulting dozens of women inside a Paran nightclub. The list of his alleged victims is so long, police are launching an international hunt to track them all down.
Accused sex pest David Ryan allegedly assaulted 33 women over 3 nights.
Police allege you sexually assaulted 33 women. What do you have to say to that?
Today, the 33-year-old IT specialist fronted court for the first time since his arrest. The prosecution told the court Mr Ryan is facing more than 70 charges. The alleged incidents took place on September 23, October 14 and October 21. The sexual assault charges relate to groping and unwanted kissing. The accused serial groper targeted women at the same Chapel Street nightclub on each occasion.
Prosecutors told the court they'll need the next few months to examine CCTV footage from the nightclub, and they've requested help from international authorities as some of the alleged victims are from overseas.
Police say it will be a lengthy investigation with some of the women yet to be identified.
David, are those women lying?
Outside court, Mr Rayan's lawyer shielded him from questions.
Excuse me.
The Cranbourne man was granted bail and will face court again in May. Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
A high-speed police chase has come to a crashing end in Melbourne's southeast. 4 people are accused of carjacking a BMW driver at Doncaster shopping centre before leading police on a pursuit at speed of 200 kilometres an hour, which only ended when the BMW hit a tree in Melbourne.
Very loud, 2 almost explosive sounds, one immediately after the other.
The 23-year-old driver was taken to hospital under police guard. 2 women and a male teenager, all from Wodonga, have been charged. A gunman has opened fire at a university in Prague in the worst mass shooting in the Czech Republic's history. He peppered shots at random from a balcony, killing at least 14 people and injuring 25 more.
Emerging from a 4th-floor balcony, indiscriminate gunfire from a lone killer. He'd just stalked the arts department of Charles University for victims. As he closed in, students felt they had no choice but to jump. Some risking a plunge to the ground to hide. Heart-stopping fear in a historic city. Others barricading themselves in classrooms.
We heard gunshots ringing and we saw the SWAT teams arriving and storming down the street.
As snipers moved in, people fled through one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations, hiding in banks, restaurants, anywhere they could.
Everywhere was just blue lights flashing and ambulances flying through the streets. Just a moment in history that you never want to be part of.
An active shooter told us to get down, stay indoors and turn all the lights off.
This 14th century school, one of the most prestigious in Europe, is tonight a crime scene and the site of the worst mass shooting in the Czech Republic's modern history. The lives stolen here were just getting started. This killer has been named as 24-year-old David Kozak, a student with no clear motive.
There is no evidence at this time that this act is in any way related to international terrorism.
Investigators believe he killed his father at home to start his reign of terror, ending it by killing himself.
And Ashley Mullaney is live in Prague tonight. Ashley, with no suggestion the killer has terror links, do police have any clues about his motive?
Well, police are still searching his history back, but it's clear that this gunman was here to cause as much damage as possible. Police on the ground have told me they found a huge arsenal of weapons and ammunition. He had no criminal record, but they believe he may have been inspired by other campus shootings, the type we normally see in places like America. This is a country not used to this type of gun violence, and the people here are in a state of shock. Beck?
Ashley Mullaney reporting live in Prague. Thank you. There's been a bombshell conclusion to Bruce Lehrmann's marathon defamation case against Channel 10. His barrister took aim at Brittany Higgins, questioning her decision to go on television instead of to police.
On the trial's final day, Bruce Lehrmann's lawyer said no matter who wins, he'll forever be seen as the person who raped Brittany Higgins. Her sexual assault claim versus his denial, boiling down to the evidence of 2 relatively young, fairly immature, ambitious, self-confident and to a degree self-absorbed young people. Calling this a case of lies, damned lies and CCTV, arguing Security Vision debunks claims Lehrmann spent all his time with Higgins and buying her 2 drinks wasn't plying her with alcohol, but, the judge reflected, out drinking with an attractive woman seen kissing, heading to a private place. Does a man in a situation like that have French submarine contracts on his mind, or does he have something else on his mind? Lehrmann's barrister responding, the fact that they go back with that intention doesn't mean that it happened. Mr Whybrow accusing Higgins of fabricating evidence, including the bruise photo. Ms Higgins has lied to her employer, she lied to her partner, she's lied to federal agents, she lied to Angus Llewellyn and Lisa Wilkinson. Mr Whybrow conceding some of Lehrmann's evidence was unsatisfactory, but denying he was a compulsive liar, arguing that if Higgins had gone to police before going to the media, there would not have been a virus of madness that spread amongst everybody from politicians to journalists, where the rights of the individual ceased to exist. Ms Wilkinson, how confident are you of winning this case? Lehrmann's side accusing the project of being so keen for the story, Higgins was never challenged, arguing Lisa Wilkinson's Logie's speech made it worse.
Have a lovely afternoon.
The verdict, whether Bruce Lehrmann was defamed. Do you think the judge will believe you or Brittany Higgins? To come in the new year. Paul Caddock, 7 News.
Rescuers are racing to find an elderly Portland woman who's been missing for 2 days. Cassie Zervos has an update from police headquarters. Hello, Cassie. She disappeared while bushwalking.
Well, Beck, the 74-year-old was with a bushwalking group when she vanished on Wednesday. Elizabeth, also known as Kay, was last seen wearing a hat, a blue scarf and a khaki trench coat. She was near Swan Lake, west of Portland, when she disappeared, but it's unclear how she became separated from the group. Her family say that her disappearance is out of character, and they're also concerned because she does have a medical condition.
She's a good walker, although 74 years old. It's not, beyond the realms of possibility that someone might have come by and picked her up walking on one of the nearby trails.
Police say they will continue searching for Kay until sunset tonight and will resume at first light tomorrow. Beck.
Cassie Zervos, thank you. The bushfire emergency in WA is escalating, with a town south of Perth under siege. At least one property has been destroyed, with crews forced to flee as flames erupted above them. It's the 4th property lost in the past 2 days. Conditions have eased in the fire zones in Perth's east, where residents returned today to survey the aftermath. Authorities are on high alert, with temperatures set to soar past 35 degrees across the Christmas weekend. Usman Khawaja is vowing to fight back against cricket's governing body after it sanctioned him for protests supporting the children of Gaza. The Aussie opener faces a reprimand which he says makes no sense at all.
Usman Khawaja launches Cricket Australia's multicultural action plan with local kids.
Oh, he's out!
But his protest supporting the children of Gaza has him taking on the ICC. He says the decision to charge and reprimand him for wearing a black armband in the Perth Test
made no sense to me. I followed all the regulations, the past precedents. The ICC asked me on day 2 what it was for. I told it was for a personal bereavement. I never ever stated it was for anything else.
He will fight any sanction and accuse the ICC of inconsistency.
Guys have put stickers on their bats, names on their shoes, done all sorts of things in the past without ICC approval and never been reprimanded.
The ban remains on the human rights slogan on his boots. He's working on a compromise with Cricket Australia, but
we're very clear that the ICC has rules in place for very good reason, and we expect our players to follow and comply with those regulations.
In the test here next week, the opener will not wear a black armband or slogans. And when Khawaja was asked whether this controversy would affect him on field, his response was terse.
No.
I think you saw last week, Uz handled himself really well. I'm sure it'll be no different this week.
Mixing sport and politics is divisive, but he feels a duty.
If anything, this brings up more negativity towards me. People come and start attacking me. I don't get anything out of this. I just feel like it's my responsibility to speak up on this.
Nick McCallum, 7 News.
Melbourne's major shopping centres are operating extended hours in the countdown to Christmas. Christy Mayer is braving the crowds at Southland. Christy, Australians are on a $9 billion weekend spending spree.
They certainly are, Beck. Millions of people are expected through the doors of major shopping centres right across Melbourne between now and Christmas Eve. Trading hours do vary, but many, like Southland, will be open late tonight. Now, if you have left it to the last minute to grab a gift, don't worry, you're not alone.
Dashing to the shops.
Last minute, I'll say, yeah.
Bracelets, clothes, new shoes.
For a few last-minute gifts. Despite many budgets being tighter this year due to the rising cost of living, shoppers are tipped to make the most of the early sales.
And you'll be getting around about $9 billion worth of expenditure over this week of Christmas.
Our prices are very, very reasonable this year, which is very good for our customers, so they'll enjoy that.
Over the next few days, fishmongers at South Melbourne Market will sell 12 tonnes of lobster and crayfish, 18 tonnes of prawns, 10 tonnes of salmon and 300,000 oysters.
Between now and Christmas, we'll have about 250,000 people through the doors.
Go to the shops prepared, knowing classic favourites are back at the top of many wish lists. Technology, fragrances, books and clothes.
Electronics are always popular, and to be honest, now that we're in those last few days before Christmas, gift cards are the gift of choice.
Ugly Christmas jumpers are also back in fashion. Now such a growing trend, some major retailers have already sold out, sending shoppers online.
A lot of the gifts are made locally, sourced locally, so everyone really comes to the market to support local small businesses and local farmers and local producers.
The market will be open all weekend, closing at 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas!
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
Well, Tim Watson's here with a look ahead to sport now. Tim, the Aussies are starting to arrive in town.
They are, Beck, after a few days' rest, and they're raring to go for the Boxing Day test. Coming up in sport, we speak to Pat Cummins on why the Quicks are licking their lips for the MCG clash. Also, Mason Cox pads up, adding extra spice to a fierce rivalry with a fellow premiership contender. And one team is on the verge of breaking a horror record. That's all coming up.
Terrific. Thank you, Tim. Well, up next, a Melbourne council is banning Christmas gifts to stop the risk of bribery and corruption, and locals are fuming. Also ahead on 7 News, hero neighbours rescue a Port Melbourne woman from her burning home. Why terror group Hamas is heaping praise on Australia. Later, how a community is rallying to help a little boy in need after a cruel act of vandalism.
It's shaping up to be a wet Christmas, and cricket fans should pack a brolly for Boxing Day too. I'll have the full forecast soon.
Brave neighbours have helped fire crews rescue a woman trapped in her burning Port Melbourne home.
We were just screaming for her to get out, jump out the window, we'll catch her, jump out the window.
Really loud screams, screams you wouldn't want to hear.
Crews in breathing apparatus forced entry into the apartment and rescued a 40-year-old female who had burns and smoke inhalation.
It took half an hour for crews to contain the blaze. The woman is recovering in hospital as police investigate the cause. A Melbourne council is in the firing line for a blanket ban on gifts for all workers. Childcare staff are included, meaning their Christmas presents are being confiscated.
3-year-old Xavier has chocolates to give the staff at his childcare, but at nearby City of Yarra-run services, all gifts to all employees have been banned.
You can see this is one of the classic all-time bribes that is affecting decision making at the City of Yarra.
Bribery is the council's concern here, but even some on the council think it goes too far.
I don't know how you could corrupt a childcare worker. I don't know if they give your kids more toys or an extra portion of food at lunchtime. It's ludicrous.
Yarra's chief executive wouldn't speak on camera. An emailed statement says the policy aims to protect our staff from risks around perceived corruption or impropriety.
I got them some mugs and I popped some chocolates and some tea bags in it for them.
Is it a bribe?
No, God no. All it was to say thank you.
Many councils allow small gifts. Large ones must be declared.
This council once again has lost complete perspective. They're the Grinch that have stolen Christmas from their own staff.
Well, this policy would make the Grinch turn red. It really is crazy.
Yarra Council says it needs a consistent approach to this policy across all employees. Any gifts received this year will be donated to local charities. The CEO acknowledges some parents will be disappointed. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
25 people have been arrested in a 2-day blitz cracking down on the heroin trade in Melbourne's southeast. Police flooded known drug dealing hotspots in Springvale, seizing heroin, methamphetamines, cash and stolen goods. The blitz also led to the arrest of alleged criminals wanted on warrants. Anthony Albanese has hit out at a propaganda video by Hamas, which claims Australia's calls for a ceasefire in Gaza will help isolate the Israeli government. Labor is also angrily rejecting opposition demands to send a warship to the Red Sea.
Day 76 of the war and the fighting is escalating. Israel demolishing a major tunnel network connecting Hamas homes and hideouts. Australia joining Canada and New Zealand, mourning the loss of life on both sides, calling for a sustainable ceasefire. A statement being twisted by Hamas in this unverified video.
We welcome these developments and consider them in the right direction toward isolation the fascist Israeli government.
Slammed as propaganda by the Prime Minister.
I have contempt for what they did and unequivocal condemnation of their actions.
Equally unequivocal in rejecting calls from the opposition to reverse a decision not to send an Australian warship to the Red Sea as the conflict spills across the region.
We should be supporting our allies.
Refusing a US request for firepower to help defend against Houthi attacks on foreign cargo ships.
Our region is where our national interest lies, and our region is where our assets will be.
Instead, sending 6 extra Defence Force personnel as part of a multinational mission to secure the vital shipping route.
Sending some personnel is not enough.
They are essentially making an argument for Australia's military commitments to return to the Middle East.
Labelling that utterly clueless and would leave Australia weaker, noting the US is deeply appreciative of the support being offered.
The Houthis aren't attacking just one country, they're really attacking the international community. And they really need to ask themselves if they've bitten off more than they can chew.
Rob Scott, 7 News.
Activity from Iceland's active volcano is finally easing after a week of lava flows and eruptions. A 4-kilometre-long fissure now runs through the fishing town of Grindavik, where 4,000 people had to be evacuated. Scientists say while there's no seismic activity visible, volcanic gas and dust could soon spread to the country's capital. Tough new petrol rules are on the way. Up next, why it's set to mean higher prices at the pump for Melbourne motorists. Also ahead on 7 News, justice for the drunk learner driver who killed his best friend on the West Gate. A Hollywood hardman facing shock sex assault claims. And what's driving a boom in toy libraries, keeping children entertained for less. A drunk learner driver will spend at least 9 years behind bars for killing his best friend in a high-speed crash on the West Gate. The judge says it's one of the worst examples of reckless driving he's seen.
Hurtling down the Westgate Bridge, weaving in and out of traffic. This is 15 seconds Emmanuel Kerr doesn't even remember. That put 5 lives on the line. The boozed-up learner driver today sentenced to 9 years and 6 months behind bars. The 23-year-old was 4 times the legal alcohol limit on bail and in an unregistered Ford when he slammed into the Vinnie's charity truck, badly injuring its passenger and killing his best friend, Jock Deng. A police detective estimated Kerr hit 119 kilometres at the point of impact, but the true speed leading up to the collision would have been much higher, witnesses reporting ridiculous speeds.
The 23-year-old had already clocked up 6 speeding fines before he got behind the wheel that day. The judge said the footage was terrifying and one of the worst examples of reckless driving.
You were completely lawless. You consciously and deliberately acted as if no laws or societal norms applied to you. Your friend has paid the ultimate price for your outrageous behaviour. Kerr will be eligible for parole in 6 years, but won't be able to apply for a licence for another year after that. The 23-year-old could face deportation once he's released. Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
The Prime Minister has announced a $64 million support package to help flood-ravaged communities in North Queensland. Anthony Albanese met with victims and volunteers in Cairns, where the clean-up is underway.
We'll provide $25 million for primary producers who've suffered as a result of the flood events.
The funds will be used to build back businesses and communities hit by ex-tropical cyclone Jasper. The federal government has revealed a plan for cleaner cars and fuel standards. It will cause petrol prices to rise, but motoring experts say the changes will eventually end up saving drivers money.
The fuel we pump into our cars is dirty by global standards and making us sick.
Our petrol standards have been way below everywhere else in the Western world.
Exhaust emissions creating lung and heart problems, fatal for many.
What studies in Australia have found is that something like 11,000 premature deaths are caused every year.
The government announcing a solution: cleaner vehicles from late 2025. New cars, SUVs, vans and utes will need to comply with emission standards already in place in 80% of the world.
We are being treated as a bit of a dumping ground for older, less efficient technology.
It's the engine and drive chains that will change. There won't be any models leaving the market necessarily.
And Australia's 2 fuel refineries are being upgraded to produce higher quality unleaded 95 petrol, pushing prices up 1 cent a litre.
It's important that we have the cleanest possible fuel standards in Australia, but we also have to balance those with cost of living.
You'll see better fuel economy and that'll offset any increases in prices.
In some good short-term news, petrol prices around the nation are falling tonight, delivering motorists an early Christmas present.
What are they? Oh yeah, it has come down quite a bit.
Yeah, it's great to see petrol prices come down, Really helps for Christmas shopping.
The average price in Sydney and Melbourne will soon drop under $2 a litre. Brisbane and Perth, currently the cheapest markets.
Positive news right across the country. We knew that oil prices have been falling now since September.
Only now being passed on at the Bowser. Josh Martin, 7 News.
Dashcam footage has caught the terrifying moment a high-speed collision sent a vehicle flying across a freeway median strip. The ute flipped multiple times, sending debris in every direction. Remarkably, the driver escaped without serious injury. The crash occurred on Sydney's M4 freeway on Tuesday morning. Donald Trump's one-time celebrity lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has filed for bankruptcy after he was ordered to pay almost $150 million in a defamation case. All up, the 79-year-old owes $500 million and faces a long list of lawsuits from his time with the former president.
Former New York Mayor turned Donald Trump's lawyer turned debtor, Rudy Giuliani, filing for bankruptcy after he was ordered to pay $148 million to 2 Georgia poll workers he falsely accused of ballot fraud.
The absurdity of the number merely underscores the absurdity of the entire proceeding.
Once Trump's right-hand man, now under the weight of a mountain of debt. Bankruptcy papers revealing Giuliani owes $500 million, including $4 million for legal fees and $1 million in unpaid taxes. He's also being sued by Hunter Biden, the president's son, for violating his privacy, and by 2 voting machine companies, which he claims tipped the 2020 election away from Trump.
You think anyone in that government has credibility after using a machine and fooling their citizens?
It's an extraordinary fall for the 79-year-old named Times Person of the Year in 2001 and once heralded America's mayor. His bankruptcy won't wipe the multi-million-dollar defamation bill, but it can't be collected until the process plays out in court.
Possibly we'll move for a new trial. Certainly we'll appeal.
And that could stretch on for years. In the United States, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
Fast and Furious actor Vin Diesel has been accused of sexual battery by a former assistant. The woman says the actor forced himself on her when he was filming Fast 5 in 2010, claiming she was fired hours later. She's suing Diesel and his production company for alleged gender-based discrimination and wrongful termination. A toy revolution is sweeping the nation, helping struggling parents afford big-ticket items. It's all thanks to toy libraries, which are booming in popularity.
Welcome to the Toy Library, where you borrow, not buy.
You borrow 6 toys at a time. You can hold on to them for 4 weeks, and then when you're done, you just simply return them and choose some more toys.
A choice of puzzles, costumes and bookcases stacked with games. David and Leela have been bringing little Atticus for 2 months.
Loves it.
Yeah, absolutely loves it.
I think all the things we own got completely ignored for the last 4 weeks because he had all these new exciting things to play with.
I think it's such a good idea, particularly at his age. They go through toys so quickly.
You're giving toys a prolonged life. They're not ending up in landfill.
Saving the planet and budget, with memberships from just $80 a year.
Our family has saved, I think, over $5,000 by borrowing toys to that value over the last year or so.
And families are taking notice. The volunteer-run organisation seeing a boom in sign-ups. There are nearly 300 toy libraries across the country owning $28 million worth of toys, suitable for children aged 6 months to 12 years old.
A lot of our larger toys are really popular because it means that the families don't have to store those toys at home.
Opening up a world of playful possibilities. Georgia Holland, 7 News.
Scammers are using alarming new tactics to pull off credit card fraud. Up next, what shoppers need to know for summer. Also ahead on 7 News, why Melbourne speed camera operators are threatening to strike. The new link between traffic noise and the risk of having a stroke. And how a community is rallying to save Christmas for a little Victorian boy in need. A traffic camera operator has been injured in a daylight attack in Parkville. The worker was sitting in his car when he was set upon by 4 people. Union officials claim the thugs taunted him before smashing the vehicle's windows. The 36-year-old victim is recovering in hospital as police try to track down the thugs. The latest act of violence has the union now threatening strike action if safety standards aren't improved. Alarming new statistics show the number of Australians falling victim to credit card fraud has jumped more than 30% in just 12 months. It's prompted a warning for the shopping season as police round up thieves accused of preying on cash-strapped families.
For 9 months, police have been making a list of suspects.
Please search warrant!
And yesterday, they didn't ask twice. Arresting 26-year-old Mallory Cerezo, another alleged member of a foreign crime gang scamming millions from Australians by placing skimming devices on ATMs, cloning cards of unsuspecting victims. It's the 4th arrest since September.
They found 1,500 blank cards that are capable of extracting at least $3.75 million.
Latest data reveals fraud on card transactions rose almost 36% this year, totalling more than $670 million, the majority online, using details stolen through phishing, data breaches and fake shopping sites.
Overall, we're seeing the data up by about a third and back to pre-pandemic levels. That's really driven by international, transnational organised crime.
With a surge in spending for the holidays, authorities are warning people that now is the time to keep your guard up. Seeing a spike in shopping scams, the advice to take some simple steps to avoid having a blue Christmas.
Inevitably, people shop more online and you get things like the Boxing Day sales, so really encourage people to be vigilant. Look for that padlock symbol next to the website.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
Living on a noisy street can put you at risk of heart disease, according to some of Australia's top scientists. The Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute has found noise levels trigger the body's stress response, driving up blood pressure.
Surges in noise levels can be problematic for heart health. Closing windows, having high fences and so on that can block out noise. There's many things that can be done.
They also recommend double glazing windows and doors to minimise noise levels. Cruel vandals have destroyed a gravely ill boy's Christmas display. The Wodonga community is now rallying behind the 9-year-old, helping him rebuild the ruined showpiece.
A Grinch act ruining Ethan Simpson's Christmas spirit.
He just doesn't understand why somebody would do something like that.
A vandal knocked down the 9-year-old's pride and joy in the early hours of Wednesday morning.
You put a lot of work and time into getting everything up, for that month in December, just to bring a joy to everyone. Then it's so easily taken away.
The display was giving the Wodonga family some joy after a heart-wrenching 12 months. Ethan was diagnosed with a brain tumour.
It's called ependymoma. It's quite a rare and aggressive form of cancer. And he has grade 3, which is the worst one you can get.
Police are now investigating.
It might be a few moments of fun for you, but there's not a need for it. It's out there for our family and for the community to enjoy.
A GoFundMe page has been made to help Ethan build an even better display.
It's been a good turnout of the community that's come around us and said, no, we want to help. It just does sort of show that spirit of Christmas is still there.
Sarah Jones, 7 News.
Victorians are being urged to think twice before gifting a pet for Christmas. The Lost Dogs Home is expecting a surge in abandoned pets over summer as families head away on holidays.
The person you're gifting it to might not be financially stable to own a pet at this time. They might not have the time that they need, so we don't believe that a surprise gift is a good idea.
Right now, the centre is caring for 1,000 cats and dogs. Tim Watson's back with sport. Pat Cummins has arrived in Melbourne with one Christmas wish.
That's right, Beck. He's written a letter to Santa. The Aussie skipper wants a pace-friendly pitch. Up next, hear from Cummins and his partner in crime, who've just touched down ahead of the Boxing Day test. See a flashpoint moment in the Big Bash as a Renegade star receives high praise. Magpie star Mason Cox pads up to bait a premiership rival. And what got these fans restless in Detroit? Welcome back. Pat Cummins has touched down in Melbourne, hoping for a pace-friendly pitch for the Boxing Day test. The Aussie skipper feels he's at the top of his game, looking to wrap up the series against Pakistan.
Australian captain, but always a dad first. Pat Cummins arrived in Melbourne this afternoon along with a handful of Aussie teammates. Melbourne no longer the country's fast bowling graveyard.
Hopefully it's much the same the last few years. My first few Boxing Days, it wasn't much in it for us quicks. Now it's been a bit green, bit of grass, some good pace and bounce, so hopefully much the same.
Cummins has come of age as captain in 2023, weathering the Ashes storm in England and a World Cup triumph on foreign soil. Those inside the Aussie camp credit his calm leadership as a key pillar in one of the most successful calendar years in Aussie cricket.
There's been a lot of experiences this year and you've got to use them to hopefully help you. And I feel in a really good place for my own game and captaincy and all those things.
With the fast bowling trio fit and firing, Australia set to go in unchanged as they look to clinch the series in Melbourne. Tom Curran will appeal a 4-game ban for intimidating an umpire. The Englishman was warned not to run on the pitch pre-game.
You can run here, not here.
He carried on anyway, seemingly veering towards the reserve umpire on his way past. Jake Fraser-McGurk smashed 7 sixes in 21 deliveries at Marvel Stadium.
Oh, that is huge. It's flirted with the roof. It's going to be a second decker.
Labelled the most talented young batter in the country by Glenn Maxwell, the 21-year-old, nicknamed Rooster, looks ready to explode this summer.
Other years I've sort of been batting for spots and had that sort of monkey on my shoulder. But this year I've just come out and sort of just played some free cricket and backing myself.
His rapid half-century wasn't enough, though, to snap a winless start to the season for the Renegades. Andrew McCormack, 7 News.
Still on cricket, and Alyssa Healy has a fight on her hands in her first match as Test captain. The Aussies were bowled out for 219 in the first innings against India in Mumbai.
Kept her eyes on the ball all the way through.
We're not used to these conditions. It was shooting low. Little things we've talked about as a bowling group where we might have missed a slight trick there and we're a little bit slow to react.
The hosts inflicting more pain on the tourists, and they're not slowing down. A short time ago, they were 3 for 247. Mason Cox has poured fuel on his simmering feud with GWS. The Premiership Magpie staked his claim for a baggy green while anointing a successor for an injury-riddled forward.
He may have mastered one code switch, but Mason Cox's next might need some work.
I heard that David Warner's retiring, so I heard a spot's opening up. If I can do AFL, surely cricket's not far behind, right?
This makeshift Swan Street pitch the perfect entree for his first Boxing Day experience.
Shot.
Even getting a taste of every cricketer's worst nightmare, just 78 days out from the Pies' premiership defence.
There's still that hunger and that fire for everyone, and it's exciting to see kind of the pressure and training and everything else kind of, still be there.
First up, a prelim rematch against a team he kicked the winner against in September.
Crowd says it all.
Adding extra spice since, describing the Giants' home as a showground for livestock.
I don't know if they'll put a target on me or wherever it is, who knows, but I hope they do, because it'd be quite fun to be able to kind of get in it with some few other people, And I love it. I eat that up, man. That's my game plan 101.
Cox returning to full training, his shoulder one of several summer surgeries. Moore, Elliott and Maynard expected back for the start of the season, but Dan McStay's knee has opened the door for a fringe teammate.
Josh Johnson has been training so well as of recent, and we're kind of looking forward to him being able to shine in the big stage, and he's shown his potential, that's for sure. So hopefully he can put a consistent year through and be able to help us in that role.
Former Kangaroo Sam Wright today appointed the Pies' new AFLW coach. Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
Melbourne Victory striker Bruno Fornaroli has completed a stunning transformation, named in Graham Arnold's 26-man squad for next month's Asian Cup in Qatar. With 12 goals in 8 games, the 36-year-old returns after 2 Socceroos games in the COVID era.
Bruno's done a fantastic job. He's had a fantastic start to the season.
I have to keep improving, keep enjoying my football, and of course, like I said before, I'm so happy to be back in Socceroos.
World Cup goal scorer Matthew Leckie misses out with a hamstring injury. Aussie NBA star Josh Giddey's season has taken another turn for the worse, hobbling off with an ankle injury in Oklahoma's loss to the Clippers. And they're getting restless in Detroit as the Pistons crumble to a 25th straight loss.
7 straight at crunch time without Lauri Markkanen.
Oh boy, here we go. Sell the team, they're saying.
The 8-point loss means the Pistons are now just 1 loss away from the all-time NBA record of 26 in a single season, set by Philly and Cleveland. And Beck, that is not a record that you want.
No, that's a bit extreme.
It is.
Sitting with a paper bag over here.
That's sport.
Is it now? Thank you very much, Tim. And Sonia Marinelli is here with the latest Christmas forecast. Oh, Son, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
And not the good kind, Beck, not the good kind. It is firming up to be a wet and potentially stormy Christmas lunch. Stay tuned. I'll have the full forecast up next. Hello again. Victoria's holiday rain system is timing itself to dump the heaviest rain exactly on Christmas Day, and I'm going to tell you where and when in just a moment. That is why you needed to be out today soaking up the summer sunshine. It was another sensational one. The temperature dropped to 14 degrees overnight, went straight back up to 24, and that is spot on average for this time of year. It reached 25 in Essendon, 20 over in Ferny Creek, Geelong settling on 21. Still with those breezy winds today, up to 50 kilometres an hour at the moment. They are gusting slightly stronger over in the west. Overnight, the wind continued to drive in those light showers up and onto the ranges, followed by a few light showers there today. This afternoon, the weather did turn unstable over the Mallee, and we saw some showers just pushing down into Swan Hill. We may get some storms firing up across the north over the next few hours. But the city nice and settled tonight, the temperature dropping to 12 degrees under mostly clear skies. OK, let's dive into the holiday rain forecast. This is the latest modelling. It shows a low pressure system developing over the northwest of the state during Sunday. Showers increase and mostly the north is under the threat of thunderstorms. That low deepens and the showers intensify on Christmas Day, with the whole state at risk of thunderstorm activity. There'll be showers on Boxing Day, but easing as that low starts to slip away over Bass Strait. Closer in and Christmas Day looks like this. There'll be showers and the risk of thunderstorms which could produce heavy rainfall. Now, northern and western suburbs can expect up to 30 millimetres, up to 20 in the east and up to 35 over in Geelong. The temperature staying mild and humid. The city is heading for a top of 23, Geelong 22. Okay, around the nation tomorrow, it is another hot day in Perth, Adelaide warm and sunny, a possible late shower for those in Brisbane. But back here, we are looking at another warm day statewide with lots of sunshine under light to moderate south to southeasterlies. It does become unstable across northern Victoria. Skies on and north of the Divide turning cloudy at times with showers developing. There is also the risk of thunderstorms. But around the suburbs, it is the brightest day in the outlook and arguably our best day with clear skies, lots of sunshine and maximums reaching as high as 26 degrees. The winds will start to pick up around lunchtime. In the city, a top of 25 degrees. Looking ahead, Sunday starts dry with showers developing in the afternoon and evening. We could also get a rumble of thunder. 23 with heavy showers and storms on Christmas Day. Showers and a possible storm Boxing Day, 24. Possible showers on Wednesday, 23. A shower or two Thursday, 28. A shower or two Friday and down to 19 degrees. Hopefully nothing is going to dampen our spirits for Christmas.
Oh, I know.
Make the best of it.
Yes, OK. Well, enjoy tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow's great.
Thank you very much, Son. And that is 7 News for this Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. For now, from the 7 News team, take care and good night.
Or if you haven't...
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7 Plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.